Imagine waking up in a hospital room. The walls are white. The lights are too bright. You don't remember agreeing to be here. You don't remember the last few days. Someone asks you questions. Your thoughts feel slow, disconnected. You try to resist, but even resistance feels borrowed. In the middle of the 20th century, while the world feared nuclear annihilation, another war was being fought in silence. Not on land, not in the air, but inside the human mind. This is the story of MK Ultra. The year is 1950. The Cold War has begun. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in an ideological struggle where fear became currency. And something unsettling happens. During the Korean War, American prisoners of war appear on camera. They confess. They denounce their own country. Western media introduces a new word to the public: brainwashing. Inside the offices of the Central Intelligence Agency, panic grows. A single question dominates internal discussions. What if the enemy has learned how to control the human mind? MK Ultra was not created out of curiosity. It was created out of fear. The official objective: to study human behavior. The real strategic target: to control it. The project aimed to discover whether it was possible to break psychological resistance, erase or alter memory implant suggestions, force compliance, create total mental submission. This was not persuasion. This was domination. If successful, MK Ultra would give the state something unprecedented: power over thought itself. On April 13th, 1953, CIA Director Allen Dulles officially approves MK Ultra. No presidential approval, no congressional oversight. The project is buried under extreme secrecy. Funding is disguised through front organizations. Universities, hospitals, prisons, and military facilities are quietly recruited. Many researchers do not know who is truly paying them. Many subjects do not know they are subjects at all. MK Ultra was not one experiment. It was 149 sub-projects. Drugs LSD becomes the centerpiece. The subjects weren't volunteers in lab coats. They were soldiers, prisoners, psychiatric patients, and sometimes just ordinary people who had no idea they had been chosen. Many are dosed without consent. The goal: to observe confusion, paranoia, obedience, and psychological collapse. Sensory deprivation. Subjects are placed in isolation. No light, no sound, no sense of time. Within hours, hallucinations begin. Within days, identity fractures. Hypnosis. Researchers test whether individuals can be compelled to act against their morals, whether commands can be buried in the mind and activated later. Electroshock. Electrical shocks far exceeding medical standards are applied, not to treat illness, but to dismantle the personality itself. This is where MK Ultra fully abandons ethics. In the mid-1950s, CIA safe houses operate in San Francisco and New York. Civilians are lured inside. Their drinks are secretly drugged with LSD. Behind one-way mirrors, agents watch. They record reactions. They take notes. No consent. No accountability. Human beings reduced to laboratory material. And this is where the paperwork ends. And the human damage begins. This is where the story becomes horribly but true. Many victims never recovered. Loss of identity. Some survivors could no longer recognize family members. Others lost entire sections of their memory. Personalities changed. Emotions flattened. They did not feel injured. They felt erased. Permanent psychological damage. Former subjects reported chronic paranoia, hallucinations, severe anxiety, suicidal thoughts. People who entered experiments mentally healthy left broken. Physical and neurological pain. extreme electroshock caused seizures, speech impairment, tremors, lifelong sleep disorders. The damage followed them for decades, but statistics don't show the damage. To understand MK Ultra, you have to look at the people it left behind. Frank Olson was a biochemist working with the US Army. In November 1953, he was unknowingly given LSD by CIA colleagues. Within days, he unraveled. He became paranoid, fearful, detached. 9 days later, he fell from a hotel window in New York. The CIA called it suicide. His family never believed it. Families as victims' wives watched husbands disappear psychologically. Children grew up with parents who were no longer present. The experiment did not end in the lab. It went home with them. Stanley Meyer. Stanley Meyer wasn't a spy. He wasn't a soldier. He was simply a civilian who volunteered for what he believed was a harmless sleep study. Instead, he was repeatedly given LSD for 77 consecutive days. 77. Each day, higher doses. Hallucinations stacked on hallucinations. Reality dissolved. Years later, Meyer said, "I thought I had gone permanently insane." He spent the rest of his life trying to piece his mind back together. Harold Blower, January 1953, New York. Harold Blower checked himself into a psychiatric hospital for depression. He expected therapy. Instead, doctors secretly injected him with experimental chemical compounds supplied by the US Army. Massive doses, no warning. Minutes later, he began convulsing. His heart failed. He died on the hospital bed. For 20 years, his family was told it was natural causes. The truth was buried under military secrecy. It wasn't officially labeled MK Ultra, but it came from the same culture of secret human experimentation. Donald Ewan Cameron. At the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal, Dr. Ewan Cameron believed the mind could be wiped clean like a tape. So he tried. Patients seeking help for anxiety, postpartum depression, mild disorders were subjected to weeks of drug-induced comas, extreme electroshock, repetitive audio messages played thousands of times. When some finally woke up, they couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't remember their own children. Adults reduced to childlike states. Years of life erased, not treated. Erased. James Whitey Bulger. Whitey Bulger. Before he became a notorious criminal, James Bulger was a young inmate in an Atlanta prison. He volunteered for what he was told was a schizophrenia study. Instead, he was given heavy doses of LSD for months, alone in a cell. No explanation, no control. He later described total insanity, hallucinations, paranoia, the worst nightmare of my life. Even decades later, he said the experience never truly left him. And then there are the ones we don't know. Students, prisoners, hospital patients, people who never discovered why their memories fractured, because most MK Ultra records were destroyed, which means the real number of victims isn't dozens, it's likely thousands, lost in paperwork that no longer exists. In the 1970s, political scandals forced secrecy into the open. Congressional investigations begin. In 1973, years before Congress could investigate, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered most MK Ultra files destroyed. Over 90% of the evidence is gone. What we know today is only what survived the fire. After 20 years of experiments, the CIA never built a perfect mind control weapon, but they proved something else. How easily a government could cross every ethical line when fear demanded results. MK Ultra was not a scientific failure. It was a moral one. It proved that when fear replaces ethics, anything becomes justifiable. There were no monsters, only people following orders, signing documents, approving budgets, and the cost was paid by people who never volunteered. The Cold War ended. But the question remains, how much of your mind would you surrender if fear told you it is necessary? This was MK Ultra. Horribly, but true.